Will we able to keep?
Okay. Hare Krishna. So just to give you the quick recap on what we discussed last time. So we started discussing on Ramayana, and we're trying to take some lessons. The Ramayana itself is like a very long epic. We cannot like discuss each and every aspect of Ramayana. So we saw that how Dashrath Maharaj, despite all the prosperity in his kingdom, he was not having any son, and that caused a lot of despondency in the heart. He was not happy, and later, by some arrangement under the guidance of the Guru Vasishtha Muni, some yajna was performed, and then as a result of that sacrifice, he got the four sons, Ram, Bharat, Lakshmana, and Shatrugna. And later, the Ram, Lakshman, and all of them, they got married. So till there we discussed. So after that, everything was going well in Ayodhya. They are all happy. Dashrath Maharaj, all the Ayodhya Vasis, everybody was happy, celebrating, enjoying. And then Dashrath Maharaj realized that this is the time to retire. And when the thought came, then another thought was, who will be the successor? And with the consultation of all his ministers, very wise ministers, they unanimously decided that Lord Ramchandra should become the next successor. And as soon as this news broke out, the whole city of Ayodhya started celebrating. That it's such a great decision that Dashrath Maharaj has taken to make Ram as the king now, next successor. So while whole of the city was celebrating and enjoying, there's one person in the city. She was not happy. That is when we stopped. And then who's that person? So that person is Mantra. So just to give a little background, who is this Mantra? Mantra is one of the maid servant of one of the queen of Dashrath Maharaj. You know that Maharaj has queens. I have to put the people on mute. Okay. So Dashrath Maharaj, so one of the queen was Kekai, and she was the most dear to the king. Kekai, because she was very beautiful. So Dashrath Maharaj loved her the most among all the queens. And this Mantra was the maid servant of that queen. So as soon as Mantra heard this, immediately she was alarmed. She came to the Kekai's room, and she was lying on a couch. She says that, did you hear that what's going on in the city? She was completely unaware of that fact. She said that the whole city, she said that, okay, I heard that the sound of celebration. What is the celebration is all about? And this Mantra, she very harshly and strongly spoke to her. She says, you foolish lady, you don't know that somebody has planned to ruin you completely, and you're simply just sitting here completely oblivious to the fact what is happening. And then she asked that, what's the matter? Why you're talking like this, that somebody wants to, ruin me like that. And then she says that you thought that King Dashrath loves you the most, but today he has shown the real color. Actually, he has conspired against you. He always posed himself as if he loves you the most, but his inner intentions were not right. And then she couldn't figure out that she's talking little, indirectly. She couldn't make out that what she's trying to say. And then she says, can you tell me that what is the matter? She said that Dashrath Maharaj already announced that Ram has to become the king. So as soon as the Kekai heard that, she was so overjoyed, so overrun by the joy, she took out the diamond necklace from her neck. She offered, yes, you have brought such a wonderful news. I'm so happy. And then this Mantra, out of disgust, threw the diamond necklace on the floor. She says, what is this? You are nonsense. You won't understand that what is good for you and what is bad for you. And like that, it's a long section in the Ramayana But this mantra start to poison Kekai gradually. So now Kekai actually always loved Lord Ramchandra more than Bharat, his own son. In fact, when they all got married and the first time when they came to Ayodhya with all their wives, like Sita and other, so there's this Mudikhai happens, right? First time when they see the face. So the Kekai was having the most opulent palace in the whole of Ayodhya, and that is famous as Kanak Bhavan, which is made out of gold. It is there even today also. If you go to Ayodhya, you can go and see the darshan of that Kanak Bhavan. That is the main temple, one of the main temple in Ayodhya. So she used to stay there, and when she saw the Sita, she was so attracted and enchanted by the beauty of Sita. She just walked out from the palace. She says, "This is my gift for you." So that much love she had for Ram and equally for Sita, that she just gave that Kanak Bhavan in Modikai, like that, to see the face. So she was that loving to Ram and Sita. And here now there is a discussion going between Mantra and Kekai, when this Mantra is trying to poison Kekai by all kinds of argument that if Ram becomes the king, then Kaushalya will become the main queen of the Ayodhya city, main Rajmata. I mean, and when she becomes the Rajmata, then you will not have any value. Nobody will value you. Your rest of your life will be like a maid servant. And like that, she started putting forth a lot of argument back and forth. Initially, Kekai was not convinced. But gradually, what happens? She started actually thinking as aligning with her thought. So, yeah, actually, I never thought like that. When maybe I was too simple. I always believed the king that he will never plan any bad to me because he loves me. And like that, she started thinking that how this king can do to me. And instead of making my son the king, he is making Kaushalya's son the king, right? And all of that discussion and conversation was going on. So there is a very, very important lesson here, the power of association. Though the Kekai loved Ram and Sita a lot, but how she got contaminated, how she got poisonous with bad association. So that is why it is said in the scripture that you should always be surrounded by people, those who are your real well wishers. So that is why they say the satsang, the sadhu sang, the association of devotees, the spiritual people, spiritually elevated people. You're surrounded by those people instead of people with some, ill intentions, the negativity, and they will just spread and contaminate you too also into that negativity. So that is the power of association. So again and again, our scriptures talks about a lot about this association. So sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koy, lava matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. That all the scriptures unanimously conclude that if one thing you want to take from the scripture is that be always in the association of devotees, spiritual people. If you go in the outside world where people are by nature, they're very envious, they have all kinds of duplicate nature, go and associate with them, you start getting contaminated by those values. So that is what it is, right? So this is a very, very important lesson that we can learn from this episode, that how Kekai got contaminated, right? And here this mantra shows the mentality of a separatist, like we see in the Mahabharata, the Dhritarashtra, that first verse of Bhagavad Gita. What is this? Mamaka Pandava Sheva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So he's asking, the Dhritarashtra is asking, that is the only one verse that is spoke in the entire Bhagavad Gita. And he's saying, my sons and the sons of Pandu. He's not saying that they're all one family and all that, but that is called the separatist mentality. And me and mine, and you are different. So here, this mantra is not able to see that they're all sons of Dashrath Maharaj. So lovingly, everybody is living in the palace. So he's saying, no, your son Bharat should become the king, not Kausalya's son. This is called separatist mentality, right? So this is what is we can understand, that unless there is a cooperation based on the service of the Lord and keeping that in the center, then even the Dharma Kshetra can become the Kurukshetra. So you see, everybody was so happy in the whole of Ayodhya. Everybody was living so lovingly. But now there is a dispute. It is coming up now because interests are different. This is the nature of this world. Every individual, if they have their own interest and agenda, then there cannot be any cooperation among the people. So even somebody can be in the temple, which is considered as the Dharma Kshetra, the place of righteousness, but the place can become Kurukshetra, the place of fight, argument, conflicts, because the center is not common. So even in the temple also, people come with all kinds of their own interest. Your interest is different, my interest is different, and the whole community will collapse. So why the whole community is able to survive? Because everyone has the same center. The center is to serve the Lord, to please the Lord. Right? With that center, same center serving the Lord, satisfaction of the Lord, when we all come together, then we can happily live. Otherwise, the nature of this material world is we are all individuals. We have different opinions, different ideas, and then naturally there will be conflict. When you see in the family itself, two people, husband, wife, and they fight, they argue. Why? Because they're individual, they have their own ideas, their own thought process. And if they don't come to something which is center of the house, then there is a clash. So this is a very, very powerful concept that one should understand. To survive a healthy relation in our life is keeping Krishna, the Supreme Lord, at the center. And then everyone in the family, in the house, in the community, in the country, in the society, everybody should be working to serve the Lord. If that becomes the center, then despite all conflicts, we all can happily live and peacefully continue our life. So here you see, it's such a beautiful place like Ayodhya, such a righteous place, and now there is a conflict coming here. So Dharma Kshetra become the Kurukshetra if the centers are different, and that is what is happening here. So this cooperation is very, very important. Cooperation is very important. So actually, one time there is a very beautiful pastime when Prabhupada, towards the end of his life, he was sick and he was almost like close to end of his life. So many of his disciples, they were very young and they were very, very attached to Srila Prabhupada. And with the thought itself that now soon Prabhupada will, because his health was decaying day by day, and they could sense that Prabhupada will, depart soon. So they were quite concerned and they were attached also, and very young people. So thinking that is there any way that we can reverse it or we can stop this to happen, that Prabhupada can survive even longer, something like that. So one of the young disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he came and he, out of attachment, out of his affection towards Prabhupada, he says, Prabhupada, that I wish that you can take my life. He was very young and you should continue to live longer. Your life is more important than my life. So he was talking out of emotions, affections, like that. And then Prabhupada also actually accepted his emotions. He nodded. And then Prabhupada says, yes, it is nice to see your affection towards me, your love toward me. But your real love towards me will be shown by, after my departure, how you cooperate among yourself. That is the true love. Talking all those things are very easy. That, oh, I can give up my life for you. Giving up life is very easy. Then living the life with the people with whom you don't really, your thought process doesn't harmonize with them. That is even more challenging. They're saying that, oh, I can give up the life and I'll die for you. I can do whatever. Easy. But can you continue to live your life with all kinds of differences of opinion in the community of devotees, where my idea is different, my thought process is different, your thought process is different, and we all are here together to serve the Lord? Then there is a clash, conflict, and living with all of that, that is the real love. How we can live? If we have the love for our Guru, then we'll tolerate all the conflicts, all the clashes, and still will continue to serve. Because generally what happens, it's not easy to survive in the communities. People just little differences of opinion, they just depart. Say, no, 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 I'm not fit here. I doesn't get along with this person, these people, and all that. Better I'll find some other place, I'll go somewhere. Easy. just go away somewhere. And if that is the attitude, then you go anywhere in the world, same thing will happen there also. Because you cannot expect that there will be people around me, everybody will just match with my thought process. There will always be differences of opinion. So we had to learn the art of how to tolerate all that, how to cooperate among the people. So this cooperation comes if there is a love, right? So we need to understand. So this Ayodhya was, everybody was living a lot of love and affection for each other. And now because of one bad association, bad person, his poisonous mind, which is mantra, she is coming and contaminating the whole environment. So that is the power of association, either it is good or bad, either way. So you might be living nicely, happily, good friends, good family, and suddenly, one person comes and they start telling you all that. It happens. It's very easy. Now say, oh no, those days this one mantra. Nowadays, who is mantra? Where is mantra? The negative person. Not even inside, in pocket. Here is mantra. We carry mantra in our pocket. You see how in this age of internet, you just go and how we can very, what do you say, strongly you can get influenced by somebody's opinion. You go to internet and somebody is trolling someone, somebody is just, putting some negative comments. You just come across some video, somebody's talking some negative about someone. You just go and watch that. If you are not careful, if you don't guard your consciousness, then how suddenly you will get influenced by that thought process. It will not be originally your idea, but you borrow all those negativities from the people. And what is internet is all about? There's a lot of good things, definitely, but there's a lot of negativities nowadays. It's very easy, like you're sitting here and somebody somewhere in any part of the world, just put one comment, some negative comment, and then there's thousands of people, millions of people are watching, reading, and major crowd will get influenced by. If I am really an influencer on some social media, I'll influence millions of people by my negativity. And same can happen in a positive way also. So there is a need to create a lot of positivity using all these tools in this modern age. That is why this wisdom has to be spread, shared, more and bigger platforms. Otherwise, this mantra will enter everywhere and it will poison everyone. And as soon as mantra enters, you might be living very happily in your life. Suddenly you will see there's a lot of conflict. Your interests are changed. You become devious. That is what exactly happened here. So this is what is the power of association that we should understand, and that seed of suspicion was sown by mantra. KK, such a loving mother she was, how she got contaminated, right? So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also actually explains one of the principle is one thing is definitely we should get the good association, but parallelly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says asat sang tyagi ei Vaishnavacha. That is a very, very important etiquette of any spiritual person or those who are trying to walk on the spiritual path is asat sang tyagi. Give up the bad association. Now again, same thing, bad association is available here. So one should be very, very careful. So this is an important principle in the spiritual path that you don't associate with all kinds of negative things. Don't watch, don't listen too much. And outside world is filled with all of that. So this is what we learn from in this mantras episode. Actually, there was this article was like few years back. This Solemn Island is there somewhere, and so they have in that island there's huge trees, very very huge trees, and they are trying to cut those trees. Even the big machines to cut them, it did not work out because they were so strong and thick and all that. They did not work out. So the local people there in the Solomon Island, they figured out, they found some very indigenous idea based on some idea from locality. So what they did is they'll all go together in a group to those trees and they start shouting all the abusing words to the trees. See, it's a very, very powerful, research was done and then it was published long back. And how powerful it is. The big machines were failed to cut those trees. These people every day very consistently go and talk all negative things, all abusive words, as if you're abusing the trees like that in the group. And then in just matter of few days, the big thick tree will just crash on the ground. That's the power of those words. Sometimes we don't understand all of those things.
Guru, pani to dal. Put water in it.
And please mute yourself, those who are joining online. Make sure that you are all on mute. Let me put it. Yeah. So like that, we can understand that sometimes what happens unconsciously, unknowingly, we just end up making some comment, some negative comment about someone. Or you know, this person, that person, talk something negative about someone. So what happens? This negativity is such a thing that it basically, discourage the person, and it can break the morale of that person itself. Like from the example of this tree, such a powerful tree, but listening those negative things every day, they just crash on the ground. So even such a powerful person, very strong, and but if people start talking all the negative, actually you are harming others, and also you're spreading negativity in the whole environment is getting contaminated. So this is the power of negative sound. Similarly, there is a power of positive sound. So to encounter this negative sound, which is unfortunately beyond our control nowadays in this modern age, everywhere people are talking all these negative things, we should make sure that we create a lot of positive vibrations. And the best positivity that one can create, and the scripture says, that chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that is why it is highly recommended that one should every day spend some time to chant these mantras. There's a lot of potency in this, the holy name of the Lord. And when you do that, and then you get influenced by that vibration, there's not just positive vibration, but it's a spiritual sound vibration. So these are all subtle energies, and you cannot basically see that how much you are getting impacted and influenced by that positivity. But in the due course, you'll see the transformation in the consciousness, transformation in the heart, transformation in the whole life. Your life will be something different. So that is the power of this. And then we are very, very fortunate in this modern age by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us such a powerful means in such a simple manner. Like if you ask a small child to go and play on the international cricket ground on the big pitch, the small child cannot play because it's very long. The boundaries are also very, far and all of that. So now somebody says, oh, no, the child cannot really play here. Let me do something. So what they do, they reduce the size of the pitch, they reduce the size of the boundary, and the child can play there with a small bat, hit a little bit, go hit the boundary also, and he's encouraged. So, oh yeah, I can play. He get the confidence. So similarly, if you see the scriptures, if you actually read the scripture, that the rules and regulations and all kinds of austerity recommended in this scriptures, it will seem like a child is trying to play on a big pitch. And then you will just give up. You say, no, I cannot. Rules, regulations, so many things, so many austerities. Oh my God. You just go out of the field only. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has reduced the size of the pitch, small pitch, and we all childlike, especially we can just simply chant Hare Krishna mantra, and then you can perform even in the pitch. So that is what is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special mercy is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. So when we come in the right association, Prabhupada says in one place, when you come in the right association, then you will be forcibly, you will be dragged to success. That is the power of association. Like some of us, like if anybody knows in India, like, you go to local trains in India. I don't know how many of you had the experience. You might have heard. They're like overcrowded. So what you have to do is you just stand at the right spot. Do nothing. You'll be pushed inside. And when you to get down, again you stand at the right spot, you'll be pushed outside. So need is finding the right spot. The people around. You'll be pushed inside. So when you come in the satsang, that is the right spot. Come here, you say, oh no, I don't know, I don't understand Bhagavad Gita, I don't know Bhagavatam also, I don't know how to do, what to do. No problem, stand at the right spot. There will be people around you, you will be pushed by that force, and suddenly you'll say, you are already in the train. You're going towards your destination. Train is going. So that Prabhupada has created this train of this Hare Krishna movement is a train which is going toward the destination, which is back to Godhead. towards Krishna. If you don't know like how and what to do, how to drive, you need not to. You just stand at the right spot, you will be pushed in the train. And soon you will realize you are already reaching destination. So that is the power of association. And that is why through all these programs, like all these discussions and different trips and all of those things, retreats, we try to create that association where people come together, they feel inspired and they feel encouraged, and everyone just together then. So that is the power of association, power of words, power of sound vibration. So we can learn a lot of things like that. So now coming back to our original story. So what happened? This mantra poisoned Kekai. Kekai got influenced. She said, what to do now? It's already announced. Rama is, and tomorrow morning, all the preparations are going on, and he has to be coronated tomorrow morning. How you can reverse it back? So this mantra was little sharp. So sometimes people are intelligent, but your intelligence is also not rightly channelized, directed to create a havoc. And that is what happens in the modern age. People are intelligent, but they're doing all kinds of nonsense things, creating all kinds of havoc. So anyway, this mantra, what she did, she reminded Kekai two pending boons. So there is a history to that. That one time Kekai actually had the king Dashrath in the battlefield to safeguard his life. And then he was very happy. He says, okay, ask some boons. I want to give you. I'm so happy. She said, I wait for the right time. Now this mantra, she forgot. This mantra did not forget. She said, now this is the right time. You go and ask those pending boons from some farmer I went. So she goes there immediately in the chamber in a sulking mood. And immediately she, message, conveyed the message that king has to come here. King came actually. He could not find her into her room. And then he inquired where she was lying there in the sulking mood. She asked what happened, and king tried to console so many ways. That is, there's something that I can do for you. There's nothing in the world that I cannot bring. He was the king of the whole world, and he loved this queen the most, but she's not opening up. She was so upset. He said, please tell me that my heart is breaking. Why you are so upset? And finally, when sufficiently it was built up, he says, okay, if you want to really satisfy me, give me the promise that you will satisfy my desires. He says, I am the king of the whole world. What is there in the world that I cannot give you? I'll give you whatever you want. Promise is given, and then she opens up. She says, you remember those boots? He says, yeah, I remember. What you want? Tell me. Says, I want my son Bharat to become the king, then Ram. And the Dashrath was taken aback. He never expected, because Kekai loved Ram more than Bharat. Nobody would believe that she will ask something like that. And then, he said, why you're talking like this? What happened to you? And all of that. And then finally, she said, this is what is I want. You've given me the promise. And also, not only this, second promise is Bharat should become the king and Rama should be banished to the forest. Her plan was, if Rama continues to be there in Ayodhya, they know very well that everybody in the Ayodhya, they loved Ram like anything. So even Bharat becomes the king officially, nobody will accept him as a king. They'll still continue to, accept the Ram as the king, and they will love him. So they're out of sight, out of mind. Send him away. And that literally like shattered the heart of Dashrath Maharaj. So how is it possible? And Dashrath Maharaj tried to console her. Says, you want your son to become the king? No problem, let him become. And I'm sure that Ram will not even oppose that. He will not even ask the question that why you change your decision. I know he's such a righteous person. So nothing, and I also agree, but don't ask. Because I cannot survive without Ram, even for a moment, without seeing him. I just leave my life if Ram goes away from here. And the long section where back and forth, a lot of things happen. She was so determined to achieve this, to attain this, and she became so insensitive. And then Dashrath Maharaj trying to, show her the future, what will happen. Nobody in the whole of city will be happy. The queens will not be happy. The whole family will not be happy. Showing all of those things, she became so insensitive. That happens with a bad association. And then he couldn't console. Whole night passed, and then finally this king was like fell on the ground. And the morning happened, and then says, "Okay, now call Ram." And there Ram is there with the Sita in his palace. He got ready and he was doing his morning prayers and all that. because this was a big day for the whole of the city. He is gonna be the king in just few hours. He has to attend some puja and all of that. And they're so happy, and everybody was happy. Suddenly, one messenger comes and say that king wants to see you. Immediately, Ram comes out and he goes there, and then he says, "Yes, my dear father." He offers his obeisances and all of that. But he could, by seeing them, he could understand, because the king was already pale, completely disheartened, and his all the charm in his face is gone away. And he said, "What happened? Everything is all right?" And then he was sobbing and crying, and he was choked. He couldn't even speak. How he can say that, you just go to the forest? For him, it like he can't even say that word. So then, by understanding, then he asked the Kekai, "And dear mother, you tell that what happened to our father." And then Kekai, she was very insensitive at that time. She said that your father will not speak, but on your behalf of your father, I'll tell that what he wants, but you have to give the promise that you will follow, you will fulfill the desire of your father. And then Rama was a little disappointed with this kind of a statement itself. Then, my dear mother, that how you think that I will ever in even my dream will say no to my father and mother? Whatever they want, I can blindly. If you ask me to jump into the fire, the spot I can jump into the fire. So that is how he was so righteous. So he says, "Okay, your father wants you." First, she said that your father wants Bharat to become the king. He was very happy. And also, he wants you to go to the forest for 14 years. The description is given in the Ramayana, not even a tinge of any change in the expression in the Rama by hearing that. Now, it's a big thing. Just imagine that, say, for example, we all work and there's an announcement and where you work, that tomorrow you are appointed as a team leader or CEO of the company, something big thing. You're so happy and you spread the news and you invite some of your close friends and everybody just wishing you and all of that. And that morning itself, again, somebody calls you some authority, say, "Get lost from here." You lost the job itself. Forget about being the CEO or something. You doesn't even have the job itself. You will just crash on the ground, right? But nothing happened to Rama. He immediately says, "Okay, my dear father, if that is your wish, so be it." And then, see, he was so sensitive. He says, "I request you to give me the time to take the farewell from my wife. That much time you have to bear me." Because if vanished means it's on the spot, you should just get lost from here. But then he has the request that till the time I go and talk to Sita and my mother Kaushalya, that much you just bear with me, for that I'll just depart. So it's a very, very touching, episode. He goes there and immediately Ram was so sensitive that he came. He is the prince and going to be the king soon. So when he came from that palace to Dashrath, he came with the all royal entourage. Some guards are walking around and they're holding the umbrella. He came in the chariot and all of that. Now he's walking back to the palace. He's walking by foot, which won't happen. They won't walk like that. That is, that is their opulence, like the king and the prince, like that. And he says, "No guard should follow me now. There's no umbrella." He just walked by foot to the palace for Sita. And Sita was surprised to see that, why you're walking like this? These are all important matters in those royal, princely, settings, and how the king will walk and then prince will walk. And she says, "Where is that white umbrella on your head?" And says, "My dear wife, I'm sorry to inform you, but I have to go to the forest." It was shock. Sita couldn't understand that what you're talking. You're supposed to be the king in just few hours. You're talking now going to the forest. What happened? And he narrated. Now a lot of discussion happens. And Lord Ramchandra is trying to give some instruction to Sita that, in my absence, you should nicely take care of the mothers, serve them nicely, and don't have any ill intention towards Kekai. You should treat all the mothers equally and all of that. Like that, yes. But Sita is not ready. Listen, so my dear Lord, forget about all of that. I'll not survive only. I'll just die as soon as you leave this palace and go to the forest. I'll die. So my only request is I should also come along. And Ram was just trying to tell that, you are raised in such an opulent upbringing that you never even walked on the floor, on the bare floor. When you walk, These are rose petals. You're walking always in the rose petals. So can you imagine that you will walk barefoot in the forest with the thorns and all of that? You will not be able to survive. Say, if I stay back in this royal opulence, I'll not survive here also. I'll be more than happy. Wherever you are, that is heaven like me, heaven for me. And without you, even the heaven is also hell for me. So I request I should come, and this is my right. I'm your wife. So Ramchandra got convinced. Okay, if you're not listening, come. And then he goes to Kaushalya. And then a lot of things happened there also. We cannot go in the details. And then Lakshmana was standing there. He loved so much Ram that he couldn't imagine his life without Ram. So after that, Sita and then Ram, they took depart from Kaushalya, and they're going, and then Lakshmana was standing there, lowering his head, and he fell at the feet of Ramchandra. Said, I also want to come. Now, there is a rule in the scriptures that a wife has to follow the husband, because wife is a consort. She has to follow. That is Patni Dharma. But there's no such rule in the scriptures that brother has to follow, especially for the Kshatriyas. And also another thing is, the Kshatriya is not supposed to be somebody's servant. They should be the ruler always. So Lakshmana cannot be the servant to Ram. He should also rule. But he says, I'll come along with you and I'll serve you like your humble servant there. Please allow me. And then Lord Ram actually tried to pacify him. Say, when I'm not there, you should take the responsibility, take care of our father, take care of mother and all of that. He did not listen anything. And finally, Ramchandra agreed. So, long story short, so this is the banishment of Lord Ramchandra. Very touching section. And finally, when they're just walking out, and this news is spread in the city, the commotion in the whole of the city. What happened? Whole city was just celebrating that Ram will be the king. Now he's walking to the forest. And people started, criticizing, condemning the king. So what happened to this old king? Did he lost his sense? What kind of decision he made? Now nobody knows the inside story. There's a ghar ki kahani hai, although like inside story, you don't tell to the public. Inside story. People are thinking, what kind of decision this king has made? He's banishing Ram. He's such a righteous person, such a dharmic person. Nobody could be here, nobody could appreciate. And they're crying and they're coming, they're stopping. Lord Ramchandra, unaffected, looking at anyone, he just started walking out. And then everybody came, they're following him, they're crying, and there's a lot of commotion that happened. But then they all just walked out. They're walking on the chariot. This minister, what is his name? Sumantra. He is the driver of the Dasharatha. So he's taking them out. And then everybody is just following them. And then Lord Ramchandra said that you have to drive fast. If you drive so slow, these people will continue to cry and shout and all of that. We have to go fast. And behind the people, they're saying, hey, drive slow. Why are you going so fast? Let us just see Lord Ramchandra, whatever extent we can see him. So finally, they just went out. So that is one episode here we see and we learn the lesson. Now, a lot of stories happen that Lord Ramchandra goes to the place where this Nishad Raj Guha was there, the tribal community. They welcomed Lord Ramchandra. That no problem, you become the king here in our community. Man, he was a friend to Lord Ram, friend in the sense, same age, but Lord treated him like a friend. And then finally, he helped, this Guha helped to cross them to the river. Right. And they went to the Bhardwaj Muni's ashram and all of that happened. In the meantime, what happened? The Dasharatha couldn't tolerate this. He was constantly crying. And then he left the body. King died. And that is what happened. And now as soon as that happened, there's big commotion now. Who will rule now? King is not there. Ram is not there. And this Bharat and Shatrudhana, they went to their maternal uncle's house. They were also not there in the city that time. So immediately Vasishtha Muni sent one messenger. Says immediately call the Bharat. But don't tell him that what is the matter. So this messenger, they were also trained. He goes there, he says there's some important matter that you are required for that. Please come. So that night what happened, there is a description in the Ramayana when this Bharat was sleeping in the night. He was seeing some bad dreams. and then bad omens. People were so educated in those days. By seeing some omens, they can understand there's something wrong, something terribly wrong happened. So when he woke up in the morning, he was very upset about the kind of dream he saw. So this looks like something is not, there's seriously wrong something in Ayodhya. And right then, this messenger comes. And this messenger says that you are needed. Says, what happened? Say there's something important and you have to immediately come. So now Bharat comes. And when Bharat comes, what happens? As soon as he entered in the city, he was terrified. He got scared. The whole city became, because Ayodhya was such a place, very happening place. Everybody is happy. People were singing, dancing, and the whole city was decorated all the time. And when he enters, it was looking like where he's entering in some kind of a forest. Nobody is happy. The shops are closed. He says something is seriously wrong. And this person is also not telling what happened. And of course, there is some protocol. So he did not push him that, tell me. They understand that he cannot tell me. He goes to the palace, and then he goes to his palace and he found Kekai. Kekai was very happy to see him back. So he thought, now my plan will be fulfilled. My son will become the king. She embraced. He says, what happened? Everything is all right. And I went to see the father. Father is not there. Where is the father? And this Kekai, she was so insensitive. She broke that news as if nothing happened. She says, your father passed away. Like generally, this is not the news that, this is not the way that you should tell. So something very sensitive. And she like very casually, she said that your father passed away. And then he was taken aback. He was shocked. He said, what happened to the father? He was sick or something happened. What happened? She said, no. He was bearing, he couldn't bear the separation from Ram and Sita and Lakshman. Now this is also another heartbreak. She says, what do you mean? Separation from Ram, Sita and Lakshman. Where are they? So they went to forest. She is very cool about all of those things, not understanding the sensitivity of those things. And then she thought that Bharat will be very happy now. So now they were abandoned to the forest. Father died. Now you have to become the king. So you should take care. You should sit on the throne. She thought that there's a big thing, big achievement. And this Bharat when got to know that she conspired the whole thing like this. And she imagined wrongly that he will be happy. But now he started condemning and shouting and criticizing his own mother. Says, what do you think? So another name of Kekai is mentioned as Sulochini. Lochin means the eyes, like one who has very beautiful eyes. She was very beautiful. Another name. She says, you are not Sulochini, you are Kulochini. You don't have the right vision. You couldn't even understand what you thought. It is just opposite. You're asking me to sit on the throne, and it's just like, how can I rule this kingdom? It is just like, you know, uh, first of all, how can even I survive without Ram and Lakshman? It is just like when you take out the fish out of the water, fish cannot survive. And you take the soul out of the body. What is the use of that body? I become dead like that. Ram is my soul. Ram is gone out. So my body like a dead body. I cannot survive. So like that, a lot of argument happened, and then he was very, very upset, disappointed. And then KK was wondering, like, all equations went wrong. I thought he will be happy. Immediately goes to the Kaushalya to meet. And then Kaushalya also, she says, you will be very happy. Now you will be very happy and you become the king. And then she said, my dear mother, why are you talking like this? Why would I be happy? I cannot be happy without Ram. So actually every single person in the whole of Ayodhya, everybody misunderstood Bharat. Everybody thought that Bharat is the main culprit. He conspired the whole thing. He went away from there, remote control was going on. And through mantra and all that, they did all this, conspiracy. Now, there's a great lessons to learn from the life of Bharat Maharaj. See, when you are in a place that you are forced to live in that place, where every single person around you, they see you as a culprit without you being culprit. It's impossible to live in that place. Everybody see you like a criminal and you had done nothing. Bharat. So that is why Ramayana explains The meaning of Bharat is Bhar Bahati iti Bharata. Bhar means some heavy load. Somebody who carries the heavy load constantly on the head, that person is Bharat. So Bharat is constantly carrying the load of being misunderstood. It's a big load. That everybody around me, they misunderstands me. And now you have to be there. And then he goes to Kausalya. Kausalya also, then he tried to pacify, say, no, my dear mother, please do not misunderstand me. And he pacified, she understood. Okay, looks like he's not the conspirator. And then next day, this Vasist comes. Vasist is the priest, the royal priest. Says, my dear Bharat, now we should plan to coronate you, should become the king. So that was the desire of Dashrath Maharaj, should become the king. And he says, no, my dear sage, don't talk like this. You're talking like, if somebody is sick and you're offering some 56 varieties of food. So now you nice, eat nicely. Sick person cannot eat. So I'm already sick. Without Ram, I doesn't have the strength. And you're asking me to take care of this big this thing kingdom. It is just like you're asking a calf to carry the bull. Calf cannot carry the bull. I'm so insignificant. I cannot take the load of taking care of this whole kingdom. Ram is the right person for this. So all that goes on there. And then finally, he pacified and people understood that his intentions are right. And even Vasishtha Muni also understood that his intentions are all correct. And then he says, okay, what I'll do is I'll go to the forest and I'll bring Ram back. I cannot sit on the throne. And then he decided. So now what we can learn from here is that Bharat is trying to bring Rama back. So that is the attitude of Bharat. What this modern age people, what they're doing? Kick out God from their life. God cannot be in our life. God has died. That is their philosophy. We are the enjoyer. We want to enjoy the whole kingdom. This whole world, we want to enjoy. We don't want God. But here is Bharat. The whole kingdom is given to him. Say, no, I don't want to enjoy this kingdom. I want to bring Lord Ramchandra back. So that is the mentality of Bharat that we all can learn. And we has to establish in our life the Lord is the real enjoyer in our life. I am not the enjoyer. My enjoyment is to serve the Lord. By serving the Lord, by following the instruction of the Lord, I'll be satisfied and I'll be happy. That is my enjoyment. Right? And that is what is exactly the Vaishnava philosophy. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Ivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. And all the living entities, they are all my part and parcel. So when you talk about the part can be happy only by serving the whole. Part cannot be independently happy. If this finger, this hand is a part of my body, this hand can be nourished only by feeding my mouth, the body, stomach. If my hand says, I want to enjoy independently, all this food is there, I don't want to feed the mouth, stomach, but I want to enjoy. It can never enjoy. It will result in this kind of attempt of enjoyment will result in losing all the energy and finally it will be dead. So this modern mentality of independent enjoyer is a very dangerous mentality. So here we see from the Bharat and that he's trying to establish the Lord back. So now Bharat Maharaj is demonstrating this attitude. He goes back there in the forest and then this Bharat Milap happens. So this Bharat Milap is also a very, very great episode, very touching. So I just fast forwarded to directly to the forest. So when this Bharat was coming along with, and everybody follows him, all the queens, all the army, everybody follows because everybody wanted Lord Ramchandra to be back. So when they followed, and then in the meantime, Lord Ramchandra already settled down. He was currently staying in a place called Chitrakoot forest, the mountain, Chitrakoot mountains. He's living, made the hut, and then Sita and Ram, they're enjoying the forest beauty. They're very happy. They didn't have any complaints, you know. And this Lakshmana was happy to serve them all the time on the guard to Ram and Sita. So when one time he was guarding, suddenly he saw that a lot of dust was raising. The clouds of dust was raising in the sky. What happened? Who is coming in the forest? So he informed Lord Ramchandra that something is happening, some movement is there. Says, okay, check out. So he climbed on the tree. From the far, he saw, and then he could see, looks like the whole army is coming, like big gathering is coming. And then he says, okay, can you find out that whose army it is? Those days, they had their own means to figure out whose army. So he very closely looked, and then there is a flag. When the army walks, there is a flag on the top. And then he saw the flag. He understood that it is Bharat flag, Bharat's flag. He says, my dear brother, this Bharat is coming. And this Bharat is not happy with just being the king. He has bad intention. Now he want to wipe you out so that nobody can challenge him. Because Lakshmana is sometimes, a little short temper out of his love and affection. He says he's coming so that his plan is, why he's coming with the whole army? He want to kill you so that he can have the undisputed kingdom. Lord Ramchandra knew very well who's Bharat and what is his heart. He says, my dear brother, please come down and cool down also. No problem. And don't think like that. I know Bharat very well. He's coming here to take me back. And then Lakshmana was ready with his bow and arrow. In case something goes wrong, I'm ready. I wipe out the whole army like that. And then when Bharat came, and this Bharat Milab happens, it's again very emotional and touching episode. And Bharat is crying and he's falling at the feet and he's pleading Lord Ramchandra to come back. And Ramchandra said, no, I cannot come back. I have given the promise to my father. How can I reverse that promise back? And our father is also not there. And then Bharat is trying to justify, the father's decision was wrong. He made a wrong decision. So don't care about the decision. And, he's telling other queens, the mothers, they're trying to pacify, please come, my dear son. And everybody, the whole of the city, they are trying to plead him. But he was very, very determined. So that is what is the character of Lord Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra values the values more than the valuables. Values are more important than the valuables. So the one is character of the person, and one is the accumulation. So he did not care about the accumulation. He cared about the character. Character is Raghukul Reet Sada Chaliyai Pran Jai Ruvachan Na Jai. May what come. If you are given the promise as a Kshatriya, I can lay my life, but my words cannot be reversed back. And that is what is the dynasty is. He says, how can I, put a spot or mark on the whole of the dynasty by taking my words back? So Ramchandra, he values the values more than the valuables. On the contrary, in this modern age, we value the valuables more than the values. We get something, nobody cares about the values. By hook and crook, people want those valuables. By cheating, by telling lies, somehow if I can get that, that is considered success. But here Lord Ramchandra teaches through Ramayana and what is real success to maintain the values. So finally, a lot of discussion happened there, and they understood, everybody understood that we cannot change his mind. So then they agreed, okay. And then Bharat, tell him that it should be exactly 14 years. If it goes beyond one day, beyond 14 years, I'll end my life. I cannot bear beyond that. So you have to be back by the last day of the 14 year. Come back, and still I don't agree to become the king. But as a matter of duty, as your order, I'll take care of the kingdom. I'll never sit on the throne. And then Bharat Maharaj, he brings the paduka, and the chappal, the slippers, the wooden slippers. It says, can you please touch this? So Lord Ramchandra actually touched the paduka. It says, from today on, the slippers of Lord Ramchandra, Ram Paduka, they will rule the whole kingdom of Ayodhya. They'll sit on the throne, and I'll serve this Paduka as their humble servant. And that is what exactly Bharat Maharaj did for 14 years. He goes back to Ayodhya, he put the slippers on the throne, say, now these slippers are the king, and I am as a servant, I'll just report. And that is what exactly it is. See, sometimes what happens, out of emotions, we feel like that. Because sometimes initially all that happened, and you are too overwhelmed. You say, oh, I'll never sit on the throne, I'll be like a servant. And then few days you realize, oh, this is too much, I forget it. Nobody's there. Everybody is asking me to be the king. Let me become the king. These are the characters which is not found in this modern age. Cannot be found. But we can take some inspiration to what best we can do. Promise is given. And the next 14 years, this Paduka became the king. And in that, during the rule of this Bharat Maharaj, the whole of the economy of the whole Ayodhya, GDP, it went multiple times, multiple times. Because the simple formula was what he applied the formula is whenever there is any expense, any request for expense, say, okay, let me check with the Paduka. Because they're the king, they had to give the approval, right? Now they doesn't respond. So there's no expenses, but a lot of income is coming. So the treasury during that rule of 14 years of Bharat Maharaj, their GDP, their whole economy went like multiple times. That expertly. And also Bharat Maharaj took a lot of austerity. What was the austerity? He said, not only that I'll not sit on the throne, I'll not even reside in the palace. I cannot. Because my brother, he is there somewhere in the forest. He is lying on the floor on some leaves, some dry leaves. And how I can be on some soft bed or couch in the palace? I cannot accept all that. So this kind of love, this kind of sacrifice. So other time also we're talking, right? To understand the Ramayana, first of all, we need to understand the mood of the Ramayana, the culture of that whole time. Culture is that of the sacrifice, tyag. The whole Ramayana is all about that. Sita is sacrificing, Lakshmana is sacrificing, Ramchandra is sacrificing, and then now Bharata is sacrificing. Now for Ram, he was like kind of obliged because father has to leave. But for Bharat, there's no obligation like that. Right? For him, there's an option to enjoy, but he's voluntarily he's giving up. And then he made his quarters outside the Ayodhya place called Nandigram. And in the Nandigram, he was living in a very humble and simple hut. And now another thing is to the extent that he was not even sleeping on the floor. Forget about bed and all that. He was not sleeping on the floor. Where he'll sleep then? So he kind of dig the floor, few feet, and he's sleeping in that dig. Reason is understanding. See, these are the thought process like these people. This shows. Say, my brother is sleeping on the floor. I should be lower than him because he is my elder brother. So I cannot be even equal to him. Forget about top of him. I cannot be even equal to him. I should be always below him as a younger brother. So these are the values that we see in the Ramayana, which is very difficult to comprehend, especially in this modern age. Forget about practicing and all that, but we can derive some inspiration and how the relation should be. So like that, he took a lot of austerities and ruled the kingdom and waiting. So that was the episode of Bharat Milap. And now we'll go back to the forest again. Lord Ramchandra is in the Chitrakoot. And then few days they stayed there, they spent some time, and they decided to move from there. And then further they move and they go to another place in the forest, further down. And then they will reach to the place called Dandakaranya. Is another place. And there is a place called Janasthan. They made a hut. And rest of their forest life they spend in Janasthan. It's a beautiful place in the Ramayana. And then Sita, Lakshman, and Bharat, they're nicely living there. Almost 13 years passed. Happily, they're enjoying the forest life. And towards the end of the 13 year, some twist, some climax comes in the story. That climax we'll discuss in the next class because we are already running out of time. And that is when the whole actual and the Ramayana thing and a lot of things happens there. So we'll try to cover that in the next episode. Okay, till then, please keep chanting. Attend the festival, which is on Tuesday evening. We are having some festivities in the temple. Those who are joining online, a lot of people, thank you for joining and try to attend the festival on Tuesday evening. Please come and join us and receive the blessings of Lord Ramchandra. And also continue to chant every day as we discussed in detail. Power of sound vibration. So you cannot really control the negative vibes outside. But what we can do is we can create a lot of spiritual vibes around us by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now let us chant together. Can you distribute the beats to the people? Okay. In the meantime, anybody has any quick question or any comment? Yes, you can ask. Okay. So the question is, what is the significance of 14 years? So a little I know is what I understood is in those days, the whole, dynamics were different. If somebody is away 14 years, then that person is considered as outcast. Everybody will forget that person. So that is why they chose very consciously, she chose 14 years. It comes in the 13 years also, still people will have some hope. But after 14 years, socially, that person is outcast. So that was the system in those days. So if somebody is away 14 years, then people will not even count on that person. So okay, that person, forget about him. So she made a foolproof plan that after 14 years also he comes, then nobody would care about him. Like that. So that was the okay, there is another question here. Okay, somebody is putting some comment. The example of cell phone is like mantra. This is very apt and relevant in today's world. Yeah, so be careful of your mantra in your pocket. Just be watchful. We are surrounded by some negative people all the time without being conscious. Okay, Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone. Those who are here new, we'll be just quickly chanting one round of Hare Krishna mantra. Some of you want, you can come and join here. Feel free to join here. I'll just quickly show you that how to do this. It's very simple. I'll just show in the screen also the mantra. I'll display. So this mantra is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Let me just display on the screen 1 second. Okay, it is here. So this is highly recommended that one should every day chant this mantra. So how we do is we chant this Hare Krishna mantra. On each beat, full mantra will chant, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Full mantra on one beat. Before we begin, on the center beat, we chant this invocation mantra, and then we'll start chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So this mantra you can repeat after me. Hare Krishna mantra will be all chanting together. Now, one important thing about this mantra is this mantra should be chanted loudly, not in the mind, as loud as you can hear. So this is called mantra meditation or sound meditation. So you chant the sound vibration and then you try to concentrate on the sound. Very powerful means of connecting with the Lord. So please repeat after me on the center beat this mantra and we'll Hare Krishna mantra chant together. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare